The first time the Galactic Concorde contacted Earth, the aliens were certain they were dealing with a minor curiosity. A small blue planet orbiting a yellow star, crowded with a species that had just barely scrambled together nuclear power and spaceflight. The entry in the Galactic Database was terse, clinical, and dismissive. Species 47291. Unremarkable, emotionally unstable, fragmented social structure, no FTL capability detected. Archivist Velnaren's fingers glided over the holographic interface, pulling up the newest update on Earth. He leaned back in his chair aboard the Ishari Envoy Fleet's command ship, the Silent Harmony feeling smug. Just as expected, he muttered. Primitive. Dangerous only to themselves. No threat to the Concorde. Across the neutral zone, orbiting the Earth-Moon system, humans prepared for the arrival of the envoy. Commander Lyra Rye stood in the docking bay of the UN Sentinel, the sleek human command ship, watching the alien vessels slip into orbit with a mixture of wariness and curiosity. Remember, she told her officers, they don't know what we're capable of. Let's keep it professional. No surprises. A joke flitted across her mind. Easy for us to say. But she kept it to herself. The Ishari were unlike any species humanity had dealt with. Tall, with shimmering translucent skin that pulsed faintly with their thoughts, the Ishari communicated mostly through a complex mixture of neural pulses and nuanced vocal patterns. Their culture was driven by logic and collective memory, valuing order above all else. When the first contact was officially made, it was sterile, almost dull. Velnaren's envoy opened communications with a protocol-heavy message. Species 47291, we extend greetings from the Galactic Concorde. We seek to catalog your civilization and establish relations. Lyra responded with a practiced calmness, injecting a subtle undercurrent of humor. Greetings from Earth. We appreciate you stopping by. Hope you brought snacks. The alien translators took a moment longer than usual to process the idiom. There was a pause, a flicker of confusion, and then a polite response. We shall endeavor to provide nutritional sustenance in future communications. Lyra's lips twitched into a smile. This wasn't going to be easy. The first exchange. The initial exchanges were full of cautious politeness, underlain with sharp observation on both sides. Velnaren marveled at the humans' nervous humor, their incessant sarcasm, and their unexpected technical questions. When the Ishari demonstrated a basic holographic map projector, human engineers dissected the interface within minutes, hacking and reprogramming its sensors to track local magnetic fields in unprecedented detail. It was just to see if we could, said Lyra when pressed on why they reprogrammed alien tech without permission. Velnaren was dumbfounded. This was not the behavior of a weak species. Behind the scenes, human scientists were scanning the Ishari ships, noting their communication encryption and defense systems. But instead of alarm, the humans treated it like a puzzle to be solved, sometimes gently, sometimes with playful disdain. Major Ethan Cross, a former special tactics officer who had been quietly observing from the wings, whispered to Lyra, "They think we're chaotic. Let's keep them guessing." Lyra nodded. That's the plan. Cultural misunderstandings. The aliens' first official briefing on humanity was short and condescending. Velnaren prepared the report. Humanity is emotionally erratic, prone to irrational decisions, but shows surprising technical ingenuity. Social cohesion is fragmented, making coordinated action difficult. Classified as low-level threat due to lack of FTL technology and unpredictable emotional displays. Erratic? Lyra asked during a shared briefing via secure channel. You mean passionate? Velnaren scoffed. Passion without control is a liability. Lyra countered quietly. Maybe you underestimate the value of unpredictability. The Ishari archivist did not respond. The first test. The Galactic Concorde requested a demonstration of human technological capabilities. A fleet of Ishari ships opened a holographic portal to showcase their cloaking technology. The shimmering veil hid ships from most known sensors. Within moments, human engineers had not only tracked the cloaked vessels but managed to send a faint jamming signal that forced them to flicker visible for seconds. The Ishari officers were stunned. "How did you?" Valnaren asked, his voice a low hiss. Lyra shrugged. "We like to test what's possible. Sometimes just to see if the fish bite." The Ishari took this as reckless bravado, an emotional flair no different from Earth's famous temper tantrums. But the humans had learned long ago that sometimes, unpredictability is the sharpest weapon. Foreshadowing. In a quiet moment, Lyra and Cross stood on the observation deck, looking out over the pale blue Earth below. "We've been playing catch-up with the rest of the galaxy for centuries," Lyra said softly. Cross replied, "Maybe it's time we ran the board." They exchanged a glance heavy with unspoken plans. Unknown to Valnaren and the Ishari, Earth's military and scientific communities had been quietly developing technology far beyond what they let on, not for war but for survival. Survival in a galaxy that was watching, waiting, and severely underestimating humanity. Emotional beats and themes. Throughout the first chapter, the story emphasizes human ingenuity and resilience. How humans adapt quickly, learn fast, and embrace unpredictability as a survival tool. Cultural clash. The cold, logical Ishari versus emotionally rich, sarcastic humans. The aliens' underestimation. Valnaren's growing discomfort as humans prove smarter and more capable than expected. Humor as a coping mechanism. Humans' use of humor and sarcasm is baffling to the Ishari but reflects deep camaraderie and emotional depth. Subtle tension. The calm before the storm. Hints that humanity's true potential is deliberately hidden. Closing scene of Chapter 1. The final scene zooms out from the UN Sentinel orbiting Earth as Valnaren types the official update into the Galactic Database. Entry 47291. Humanity. Pre-FTL species. Advanced weaponry detected but uncooperative in sharing data. Socially fragmented but displays alarming adaptability. Caution recommended but unlikely threat. Valnaren leans back, sipping his luminescent tea, confident that the humans are nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, deep within Earth's orbit, a small hidden research facility hums quietly with activity. A message blinks on a secure terminal. Operation Atlas. Phase 1 complete. Waiting for the next move. The quiet ones are waking up. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 2 or provide a sample dialogue or scene from this chapter? The Galactic Summit. The orbital convergence station hung like a silent monolith above the neutral zone between Earth and the Ishari home system. It was a massive construct, a diplomatic hub where species from across the galactic concord met to negotiate, strategize, and sometimes deceive one another under bright xenolights and zero-gravity salons. This was where the next stage of first contact unfolded, a formal summit to discuss Earth's place in the galactic order. Commander Lyra Rythe and her team arrived with a measured confidence, their steps steady despite the weight of the moment. Beside her, Major Ethan Cross scanned the crowd. His military bearing was unmistakable, eyes sharp, posture relaxed, but his mind constantly racing through tactical permutations. Valnaren greeted them formally, his translucent skin pulsing with neural signals that indicated excitement mixed with cautious skepticism. Species 47291, Valnaren began. We convene this summit to observe your capabilities and intentions more thoroughly. Lyra smiled politely. And we're eager to prove we belong at the table. The calm before the storm. The summit itself was a study in restraint and subtext. Each alien faction presented their expectations, their assumptions wrapped in diplomatic niceties. The humans, by contrast, listened intently and spoke with careful precision. Lyra's team had a clear objective: observe, adapt, and never reveal the full scope of their hand. Human scientists quietly analyzed alien technologies showcased in the station's demonstration halls. Engineers logged technical specs of weaponry, shields, and communication arrays, all while sharing casual conversations laced with humor that left their alien counterparts puzzled. Major Cross noted dryly, "They expect us to be wild cards. Let's make sure they never know the whole deck." This was the genesis of what the humans called the poker face protocol. Never revealing your true capabilities or intentions, forcing the opponent to guess. Velnaren's report. Underestimation. After days of diplomatic exchanges and scientific briefings, Velnaren submitted his report to the Galactic Concord's Central Archive. Humanity remains unpredictable, driven by emotion more than logic. Tactical coherence is questionable, though isolated actions demonstrate brilliance. Social fragmentation persists. Despite these flaws, humans exhibit remarkable resilience and strategic ingenuity, unlikely to pose serious threat without FTL capability. This summary was both a warning and a dismissal. The Concord was unwilling to fully acknowledge humanity's latent power. The simulation challenge. The true test came when the Concord proposed a wargame simulation, a strategic exercise designed to model a hypothetical conflict between Earth and a nearby hostile species, the Zarnai, an insectoid race infamous for their brutal efficiency. The simulation was expected to be a show of power for the Concord fleet, a reminder to humanity of its place in the galactic pecking order. Lyra and Cross accepted the challenge, knowing it was a trap designed to humble them. The game begins. The simulation was projected in a massive hollow cupola, showing star maps, ship movements, resource allocations, and fog of war zones. Velnaren and several alien commanders took their places confidently. Lyra, commanding the human side, spoke calmly. "We're not here to play by your rules." The game began with humans responding to Zarnai attacks with an uncanny ability to predict their tactics, adapting quickly to shifts in strategy. Major Cross executed feints that exploited alien assumptions, attacking where no ships were present, retreating when expected to advance, and splitting their forces unpredictably. "This isn't about brute force," Cross muttered to Lyra. "It's about making them think they know the outcome, then changing it." Alien shock and awe. Within hours, the simulation had flipped. The humans forced the Zarnai to surrender territory, cut supply lines, and launch risky counteroffensives. Velnaren's earlier arrogance dissolved into confusion. How? They adapted within minutes. Their strategies. They're playing 4D chess while we're stuck on checkers. The other aliens whispered among themselves, faces pale beneath their exoskeletons or translucent flesh. Lyra smiled quietly. "We don't play fair. We play smart. Bonding in the shadows." After the simulation, Lyra and Cross slipped away from the diplomatic formalities to a quiet observation deck overlooking the swirling starscape. Cross sipped from a small cup of earth-brewed coffee, his tone grave. "They see us as chaotic, illogical, dangerous. But that's exactly the advantage we have." Lyra nodded, eyes distant. "The poker face protocol. We keep our real moves hidden, make them underestimate us." Cross added, "Let them feel in control. Let them think they're winning." They shared a knowing silence, the unspoken truth that humanity's true potential was yet to be revealed. Cultural clash and philosophical divide. Velnaren returned to his quarters deeply unsettled. The cold, logical Ishari struggled to reconcile humanity's apparent emotional disorder with their tactical brilliance. He recorded a private entry in his logs. "Humans are paradoxical, driven by passion yet capable of dispassionate strategy. Their social fragmentation masks an underlying cohesion forged by history and necessity. This unpredictability is a double-edged sword. It threatens the order we prize but also fascinates me." This was a turning point for Velnaren. For the first time, he questioned the rigid assumptions of the Concord. The unseen preparation. Unknown to the Concord, Earth had spent decades quietly advancing beyond public knowledge. Underneath the diplomatic theater, Project Atlas was underway, a secret development program engineering faster-than-light ships, advanced AI, and quantum defenses. The humans' poker face was literal. They hid their trump cards in plain sight. A hidden message transmitted from Earth's deep space facility to the UN Sentinel's command core read, "Atlas Phase 2 ready. Awaiting operational green light." The stakes escalate. By the end of the summit, the Galactic Concord was forced to reconsider its stance on humanity. Valneran's final communication to the Concord leaders was tinged with cautious respect. Species 47291 may no longer be dismissed as a minor anomaly. Their unpredictability, strategic adaptability, and technological potential demand new evaluations. Recommend increased monitoring and reconsideration of threat classification. Lyra and Cross knew the game had changed. The Concord expected chaos. What they did not expect was the calm, cold, calculated storm that humanity was preparing to unleash. Emotional and thematic beats. Underestimation as a weapon. Humans use the aliens' assumptions against them. Strategic brilliance mixed with emotional depth. Humans don't rely on pure logic. They embrace nuance. Cultural clash. Alien rigidity versus human adaptability. The poker face protocol. A metaphor for concealment, strategy, and emotional control. Rising stakes. The simulation reveals humanity's hidden strength, forcing the Concord to rethink their approach. Tension between appearance and reality. Humans appear chaotic, but their actions are carefully planned. Closing scene. The chapter closes with Lyra and Cross standing before the panoramic viewport of the UN Sentinel, Earth glowing in the distance. Lyra's voice is quiet but firm. We've shown them a few cards. Next time we don't show any. Cross smiles grimly. They think we're the wild ones. Maybe it's time they met the whole pack. As the stars blinked silently beyond the glass, the seeds of a new galactic order were sown, one where humanity's true game had only just begun. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 3 next? Or expand on any particular scene or character moment from this chapter? You said. The calm breaks. After the Galactic Summit's uneasy détente, Earth returned to what appeared to be normalcy. But beneath the surface, the gears of humanity's grand plan turned relentlessly. Commander Lyra Rythe sat in the dimly lit command room of the UN Sentinel, staring at a rotating hologram of the Ashari fleet. Every ship, every sensor array, every possible weakness was catalogued, analyzed, and recalculated. Beside her, Major Ethan Cross tapped rapidly on a console, overlaying new data from Project Atlas's latest test. An experimental stealth FTL drive that could shift the balance of power in a blink. We're running out of time, Cross muttered. The Concord won't stay complacent forever. Lyra nodded, her eyes steely. They think we're just scrambling. But we've been preparing for this moment longer than they imagine. The reveal of Operation Atlas. The shadowy layers of Earth's secret efforts unfolded. In a secure underground facility far from prying eyes, scientists and engineers worked feverishly on the culmination of decades of research. The Atlas-class starship, a vessel capable of true faster-than-light travel, armed with advanced quantum stealth and adaptive AI weapon systems. Dr. Naomi Kepler, lead scientist, stood before her team, her voice firm. The galaxy's been watching us like curious children. It's time to remind them humans are predators, not prey. The room erupted in quiet cheers. Valneran's growing dilemma. Meanwhile, aboard the Ashari command ship Silent Harmony, Valneran's confidence eroded with each new report. He gathered his senior officers. Humanity's unpredictable. Their tactics defy our simulations. But this Atlas project, it changes everything. An officer hissed. Do we risk escalation? Do we warn the Concord? Valneran shook his head. If we reveal too much, we become players in their game. I prefer we watch a little longer. Deep inside, a grudging respect grew for humanity's resilience and cunning. A diplomatic ambush. The Concord, unwilling to concede, devised a plan to undermine Earth's rise. They proposed a joint expedition into a newly discovered star system, rich with rare resources. A test to see if humanity would cooperate or sabotage. Lyra saw through the ploy immediately. The Concord wants to trap us, she told Cross. But we're not walking into their net. Instead, the UN Sentinel prepared a covert mission to explore the system first, mapping hidden asteroid fields, gravitational anomalies, and potential ambush points. The covert mission. Under the cover of darkness, the UN Sentinel slipped through the neutral zone toward the target system. Lyra led a small crew, including Major Cross and Dr. Kepler, who monitored experimental systems aboard. The journey was tense but quiet. As they approached the system, sensors detected a hidden fleet, Zarnai ships lurking in wait, likely tipped off by Concord informants. Cross grinned. So much for a peaceful expedition. Lyra's voice was calm but charged. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Let's show them what humans do when cornered. Tactical brilliance and unexpected allies. The ensuing encounter was a masterclass in improvisation and teamwork. The humans deployed decoys, used gravitational anomalies to their advantage, and hacked enemy communications to sow confusion among the Zarnai ranks. In a daring gambit, the UN Sentinel activated the Atlas Stealth FTL drive, vanishing from sensors, then reappearing behind the enemy fleet to disable their command ship's power grid. Zarnai commanders, disoriented and outmaneuvered, ordered a retreat. Lyra allowed herself a rare smile. Not bad for a species they thought was chaos incarnate. The turning point. News of the humans' covert victory spread quickly through the Galactic Concord. Velnaren's report was urgent. Humanity possesses FTL technology unknown to the Concord. Their tactical unpredictability and advanced technology present an immediate challenge. Recommend reassessment of strategic approach. For the first time, fear tinged his usually measured tone. Emotional resonance. Camaraderie under fire. Back on the UN Sentinel after the skirmish, Lyra gathered her core team. Exhausted but exhilarated, they shared stories, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection. Major Cross, nursing a bruised arm, said, "We didn't just win because of tech. We won because we trust each other. We fight for each other." Dr. Kepler added, "And because we refuse to be underestimated." Lyra looked at them all. This ragtag crew was humanity's future. Philosophical clash deepens. Velnaren, in his quarters, recorded a final private message. Humanity embodies contradictions. They are chaotic yet coordinated, passionate yet calculating. Their resilience stems not from order, but from unpredictability and unity forged in adversity. We are witnessing the birth of a formidable new force. His tone was equal parts admiration and dread. The rising stakes. With the UN Sentinel's success, the Galactic Concord convened an emergency council. The verdict was clear. Humanity could no longer be ignored or dismissed. Plans for containment, diplomatic isolation, or even preemptive strikes began circulating. The chapter closes on a cliffhanger. As the UN Sentinel charted a course back toward Earth, Lyra received an encrypted message. It was from a mysterious source within the Concord, a warning and an offer. They are afraid. You are the wild card they cannot control. Trust no one. Prepare for the storm. Lyra stared out at the stars, the weight of the message settling like a cold shadow. She whispered, "They thought it was a game. But this is war." Emotional and thematic highlights. Human ingenuity and resilience. The covert mission and victory against superior forces showcase tactical brilliance and adaptability. Unpredictability as strength. Humans use unconventional tactics that baffle the more rigid alien fleets. Camaraderie and trust. Emotional depth in the team's bond reinforces the HFY spirit. Philosophical clash. Velnaren's struggle to comprehend humanity's chaotic order highlights cultural differences. Escalating stakes. From diplomatic maneuvering to open conflict hints, tension tightens. Foreshadowing of coming conflict. The mysterious warning suggests deeper conspiracies and upcoming challenges. Would you like me to proceed with Chapter 4? Or would you prefer a more detailed scene or dialogue from this chapter? The storm descends. Earth's skies burned with the quiet light of distant starships. The Galactic Concord, shaken and wary, had begun a coordinated campaign to contain humanity's rise, sending fleets to blockade Earth's space lanes, attempting to quarantine the planet, and isolate it diplomatically. But humanity was no longer a fledgling species. Commander Lyra Rythe stood on the UN Sentinel's bridge, watching the incoming fleet signatures. The massive multi-species armada was led by Velnaren's Ishari flagship, the Silent Harmony, a symbol of the old order seeking to suppress the new. Lyra's voice was steady but fierce. They want to cage us. They think fear and force will bend us. They don't know who they're dealing with. The unity of Earth. Unlike the fractured societies the aliens had once dismissed, Earth had united like never before. Nations, corporations, and cultures came together under a common banner, not out of naive hope but out of hard-earned survival instinct. The global coalition pooled resources, technology, and intellect. The Atlas-class starships, stealth fighters, and quantum defenses were deployed. A broadcast from Earth's president echoed across space. We stand as one. We are humanity. Unpredictable, resilient, and unstoppable. This is our home, and we will defend it with every ounce of ingenuity and courage we possess. The opening salvo. The Concorde fleet launched its assault, expecting swift victory. But the humans unleashed Operation Atlas in full. The stealth FTL ships slipped through blockades undetected, striking key Concorde supply points, communication arrays, and command centers. Lyra's tactical genius shone brightest in the chaos, coordinating simultaneous multi-vector attacks, using electronic warfare to blind enemy sensors, and deploying AI drones that adapted on the fly. Velnaren's last report. Amidst the battle, Velnaren recorded his final entry in the Galactic Database. Species 47291. Contrary to all prior assessments, humanity has demonstrated the capacity to unify under existential threat, exhibit strategic brilliance, and harness technology beyond current galactic norms. Their emotional complexity fuels their unpredictability and resilience. This species is no longer a curiosity. It is a reckoning. Their capacity for cooperation and innovation challenges the very foundations of the Galactic Concorde. His voice was heavy with awe and defeat. The human spirit. Camaraderie in crisis. On the UN Sentinel, amidst flashing warning lights and the roar of distant explosions, Lyra rallied her crew. Every second we hold, every ship we save, is a testament to our will. Remember who we are. Not just survivors but pioneers. Major Cross clapped a hand on her shoulder. They thought chaos would break us. Instead, it made us stronger. Even the youngest crew members, barely out of training, fought with a ferocity born of hope and purpose. The turning point, the gambit unveiled. Lyra ordered the activation of the final phase of Operation Atlas, a radical gambit. The Atlas-class ships initiated a synchronized jump into the heart of the Concorde fleet using experimental quantum slipstreams, bypassing traditional defenses. In an instant, human forces appeared behind enemy lines, disabling flagship systems and severing command links. The sudden strike threw the Concorde into disarray. The climax. Defiance and victory. The battle raged fiercely. Despite superior numbers, the Concorde fleets faltered against the unpredictable human tactics and advanced technology. The Ishari flagship Silent Harmony attempted to rally forces, but was forced into retreat after a devastating blow to its core systems. Lyra's voice rang through comms, resolute and clear. This is humanity's home. We don't back down. We don't surrender. Today, the galaxy learns why they never saw us coming. The aftermath. A new galactic order. With the Concorde forces in retreat, Earth's position in the galaxy was irrevocably changed. Velnaren's final broadcast was clear. Species 47291 has rewritten the rules. They are to be respected, not dismissed. Their unpredictability and unity will shape the future of galactic civilization. Humanity, battered but unbroken, emerged from the crucible of war stronger, more united, and ready to claim their place among the stars. Emotional and thematic resonance. Human ingenuity and resilience, displayed through brilliant tactics, unity, and advanced technology overcoming overwhelming odds. Camaraderie. The emotional core of humanity's strength, trust, loyalty, and shared purpose under fire. Cultural clash resolution. The old galactic order forced to recognize humanity's unique strength. HFY spirit climax. The unpredictable, chaotic, passionate humans prove themselves the galaxy's wild card, a force that cannot be tamed or underestimated. Tone. Awe, tension, humor, and defiant hope intertwined for a satisfying conclusion. Closing scene, the last entry. As the dust settled, Lyra stood on Earth's surface, watching the stars. The Galactic Database interface blinked on a nearby console, ready for her input. With a steady hand, she typed the last entry. Species 47291, humanity. Not just survivors of their own history, but architects of their future. They were underestimated. They were dismissed. But they played the galaxy's game on their own terms, and they won. This is our last entry. To the Concord, we are not just another footnote. We are the authors of the next chapter. HFY. She smiled, a mixture of relief and fierce pride. Dear gods, she whispered. They really were just playing with us the whole time. Would you like me to craft a specific scene from this chapter, or help with a summary or epilogue?